This is Joe's Corner 76. I will be discussing the human condition. In order to change it, we have to be involved. The power of connection. At mental health clinics, you will hear the following a lot of times. I know lots of people, but I don't truly feel connected to anyone. I wish I felt close to someone, just one person, but I don't. To be honest, I feel lonely most of the time. Among the many problems currently facing our society, here's one that's often ignored but shouldn't be. Millions of people feel chronically lonely, isolated, and disconnected from others. The lack of connection with others contributes significantly to their mental and physical health and is displayed in countless harmful ways. Because close relationship is so important and vital to our healthy functioning, experts have been sounding the alarm that chronic loneliness has reached epidemic levels in modern society. A 2020 large-scale report by health service company Cigna shows that the loneliness epidemic is getting worse, with 3 in 5 adults in the United States, or 61%, reporting they're lonely, a 7% increase from 2018. The study also found that 1 in 4 respondents rarely or never feel that there are people who understand them. Another study by Statistics Canada in mid 2021 found that over 40% of Canadians feel lonely all or some of the time. In a 2021 study, researchers at Harvard University pointed out the broad reach of isolation. What loneliness is and isn't. Loneliness doesn't merely mean the lack of friends. People with many friends can feel socially detached, just as those with few friends may rarely or never feel a sense of separation. Being alone doesn't necessarily mean lonely, or it's not always something negative. Some people, particularly introverts, enjoy the time they spend by themselves and are perfectly comfortable with solitude. Even extroverts desire me time to reflect and recharge. Loneliness is different. When we're lonely, we feel cut off or alienated from other people and feel we have no one we can genuinely communicate with. Even when we're surrounded by others, we can still feel lonely if we don't have an emotional connection with them. All of us need people with whom we can share our innermost thoughts and feelings, and with who will laugh with us during the day and cry with us during painful times. People we can experience the unfolding of life with all the ups and downs. The high cost loneliness, even before COVID-19, its related social disruptions. Researchers widely felt that the loneliness and isolation is an epidemic with serious health implications. Although measuring feelings can be subjective, since it can involve feelings, tastes, and opinions, tracking the effects of these emotions aren't. Much research supports the conclusions that loneliness can lead to health risks such as depression and anxiety, substance abuse disorders, suicidal thoughts, cognitive decline, obesity, cardiovascular problems, sleep disorders, and premature mortality. The Harvard report supports this association, providing evidence that lacking social connection carries the same, if perhaps not greater, health risks as heavy smoking, drinking, and obesity. Being connected to others greatly improves our health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Dozens of studies have shown that people who have satisfying relationships are happier, have fewer health problems, and live longer. The science director at the Stanford Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education wrote, studies show people with strong social connections to others also have higher self-esteem, greater sympathy for others, are more trusting and cooperative, and as a consequence, others are more open to trusting and cooperation with them. In other words, social connectiveness generates a positive feedback and a loop of social, emotional, and social well-being. Isolation and loneliness are serious problems with real and often devastating consequences, as in the case of increased suicide risk. The ramifications deeply affect everyone in our society in one way or another, and they shouldn't be taken lightly. 7 steps towards connection. If all this bad news seems too difficult to deal with, here's some good news. This is a problem that can be cured. There are actions you can take to overcome loneliness and experience the power of connection. Perhaps you, like others, have no one in your life you can call a close, intimate friend. Or maybe you have a number of shallow relationships you want to deepen into something more authentic. Whatever the situation, let's look at ideas for initiating new relationships or deepening existing ones. Push yourself forward. Every meaningful relationship begins with one person taking initiative and taking risks. This means choosing courage over caution. When it comes to deepening relationships, we all have reasons for hesitating. Perhaps you've been burned and have learned to shy away from risk. Are you immobilized by 1,000 scary what ifs? You must remember that every close relationship begins with one person simply saying hello to a neighbor or inviting a coworker for coffee. Put yourself in the company of a variety of people. It could be a church group, community project, book club, or exercise class. You have to choose something to join. Do it now. Remember the old saying, you can't get to second base with one foot on first. This is the same challenge you face in drawing closer to others. You can't learn to swim by reading a book, and you'll never achieve closeness with others unless you choose to join in. Connection happens when two people are real and open with each other. Learn the art of being authentic. Connection happens when two people are real and open with each other. This means being who you truly are. Resist the impulse to play games or put on a false front to impress someone. Sharing vulnerable thoughts and feelings show how slowly trust is developed, and it can happen. Put more simply, intimate aspects of our life should be revealed slowly rather than dumped all at once. Don't tell them everything about your intimate details till you have built up trust. When you're with another person, be present. We are bombarded with distractions, constantly causing us to turn in other directions, diverting our attention from people we're with. Strive to be fully present in your conversations and relationships. Be an active listener, make eye contact, and give people your full attention. Being fully present is an essential way to ensure connection in any situation. Show respect at all times. Mutual respect is at the core of close relationships. It shows dignity, honor, and high worth to the recipient. Part of showing respect means honoring differences. People's view of the world and how to live in it may not be the same as yours due to their life experience, temperament, personality, upbringing, and access to education. When you accept people, don't judge. When you stop judging people, people will respond to you and connect with you. Help other people feel good about themselves. Psychologists have identified a secret to close relationships. Our feelings for another person are strongly influenced by how these individuals make us feel about ourselves. Some might say this principle makes us self-centered and egocentric, but it's a basic fact of human nature and can be a powerful positive force. People who feel the closest connection are those who support, praise, and strengthen each other. Be supportive of other person's dreams and goals. Everyone has aspirations they would like to see happen. It might be a health-related goal, such as losing weight, or a career goal, such as starting a business. It could be a family-related goal that's for kids or parents, or maybe even a long-held dream of writing a book, visiting a foreign land, or running a marathon. By lending a listening ear, offering encouragement, brainstorming together, or helping conduct research, you communicate an important message. Your dreams and ambitions are important to you just as they are to me. Work at staying connected. It's worth it. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Joe's Corner 76. You can hear me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76. If you enjoyed this podcast, tell your friends. There are many more you can hear on Spotify and YouTube.